Flushfest.
Augusta.
Whoop, whoop.
Flushfest.
We've been at, there was a tournament that we went to. It's a practice round.
Well, you could probably tell based on our attire today.
There were some transactions. There were some transactions in the shop today. I think I don't know about you, Boobs, but I think Thunder may have taken the transaction record because he went extra big today.
Well, I went big for our group, but apparently I am one of the novice spenders because I asked them, I was like, hey, so what's the biggest spender here? Thinking I'm like, I'm probably one of them. I was like 2,000 and I spent 800, by the way, bury the lead. And
Thinks he's one of the biggest spenders.
And she laughed at me when they said 2,000.
As she should.
And well, one, she wouldn't tell me. She goes, it's against policy. We can't do that. But anyways, yeah, it was a little 800, but I got 3 kids, got a wife, got
a lot of people to buy for. Some
Yeah.
coworkers, some folks, maybe? No?
No, I bought
okay.
a $200 belt that's probably too small for me. So that's
Well, and that's the worst case
you gotta go for
scenario
some
because if
runs.
it's too big, you could punch an extra hole or something.
Now look,
Yeah.
we should announce what we did was we're shooting this on Wednesday. So we went to the Tuesday practice round and the Wednesday practice round. And
Of the Masters.
And we got to see, I think, a lot of golf, but also, even if you don't like golf, you'll love the Masters.
Yeah.
Because it sort of transcends golf. Now, Cub and I have been a couple of times. MT's been there one time, but this was you, Boob's first time.
First timer
So
over
I
here.
want some fresh.
we got ourselves here, first timer.
Impression. What was your first impression, or what are your final impressions?
Everything they do is perfection is kind of the thing I thought about. I mean, from the efficiency of the golf shop to the restrooms to the concession stand. And then you have these guys with these little clips that they go around and they try to pick up trash, whatever those things are called. And I mean, it's like a square inch of a napkin. That's a piece of the napkin that's on the ground. They're picking it up and putting it in there. And that's why that place is just magical. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Speaking of the restrooms being perfection, Cub loves the restrooms because
I do think we need to touch on the restrooms. People don't think about this.
Well, it's not like any other. If you've been to another golf tournament where it's typically porta potties, or sometimes you maybe get the upgraded porta potty where it has the air conditioning and stuff like that, trailer or whatever. These are full blown, hidden in the woods buildings that they've built with full
structures, stone structures,
beautiful stone structures,
granite countertops,
hidden in
I'm
behind
thinking about
things.
the stone for my personal bathroom.
It's
That's what I was
amazing.
thinking about.
Yeah, and you have rows of stalls and rows of urinals, and
But the one thing that people I think don't think about with respect to the restrooms is you don't have a phone.
So that's the big, even in other
And
tournaments.
when
that
was
have
the
nice
last time
bathrooms,
anyone went to the bathroom without a phone?
You sat down and you
It's
just
really
you sit there with your own
weird.
thoughts.
right, and you listen to the guy next to you blow it out, and then the other guy down the hall directing traffic.
Well, the other thing is,
It's really uncomfortable.
It's like cattle going
then
through
your
there, and they're
friends
just
are yelling at you, "Hey, we'll meet you outside when you're done."
and they're just shipping you through one after the next, and then okay, stalls open, and you go in and you kind of like see this guy walk out, and then he warmed the toilet seat up for you. It's a little.
There was a guy who walked
gross.
You tipped a guy.
I had to tip a guy because the guy who came out of the stall that I was directed to go into tipped him, and I went, "Oh, okay." So I went in the stall, and when I'm coming out,
You grabbed somebody working in there to come clean your stall before you used it?
No.
No, just because
Okay,
they pointed
I
it
walked
open.
into the bathroom. They tell you what to do. If you're doing a number 2 against this wall, number 1, go down there, solid or
They are.
liquid, whatever. But
Yeah.
I got in the solid line.
Front 9, back 9.
Right,
Yeah, we got
front
the
nine,
whole
back
thing.
9, 8
I
in the corner.
Yeah, I got in the solid line, and it's all full. And then there's these guys with like squeegee bottles or whatever, and one of the stalls opened, and a patron walked out, and the guy rushed in there to clean it before I went in there. And the other patron, this elderly gentleman, gave him some money. And as soon as I saw him do that, I was like, well, I gotta,
Gotta give
Big
him
toes.
And then I walked in there. Seat was still warm and damp because there was Windex on it.
Oh yeah.
That was sweat.
It might have been swass. I don't know, but but then when I walked out, I was like, I got some money out. And when I walked out, I gave it to the guy, and he was very appreciative. And then I thought, this person stands he's at Augusta. He's in the Garden of Eden, but he stands in a bathroom for 12 hours.
So you were
stinky bathroom.
we were talking about it. That is kind of the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
And even when you go to the restaurant, you're going to the concessions, and you're out of literally nobody. The course isn't even in sight. You're in the woods. The pine straw is still perfect. Like it's still manicured.
So one thing's out of place.
One of the
Not one
funniest,
thing on
one
the
of the
whole
funniest
place. It's
moments from today,
incredible.
we were talking. MT has this theory that the bird noises are artificial. They're speakers in the trees. Okay, because they're always. He goes, they chirp at intervals. Man, it's like the same bird,
Same sound,
every 90
same
seconds.
interval.
And we're standing under a tree, and MT goes, "There's that bird again." He goes, He goes, "I'm going to show you the speaker." And I go, "Show me the speaker." And he goes, show me the bird." And I look up, and he's not right next to me. And I look up, and I go, "There he is, right there, the bird."
The bird.
And he goes, "Might be a robot bird, man." Honestly,
With the nicest places it is,
It's
and
just
how
a
much money
robot
they've got,
bird.
you can buy robot birds.
So you know
speaker
one
birds.
thing we talked about yesterday, and I sent you all an Instagram deal a minute ago. Remember how I said when we walked in, so we were outside the gates, and it was probably, 63 or 4 overcast. It was kind of chilly, and we didn't have long sleeves because
Yeah.
the plan was we're going to go buy them when we get inside. Well, we got in. None of us needed them, right? Because we go, wow, it's like warmer in here.
Yeah.
It was
They
like,
heated it up for us.
no, this is true. They have sub air under all the sidewalks and walkways. They literally heat where the patrons walk.
we were joking that MT was like,
Is
it's
that
like Disney World where they track all of us, and it's almost like they're going, patron 6395, his body temperature is 2 degrees less. Let's heat him up a little bit, bring him up to 79. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Patron 762 has not smiled in 10 seconds. Cue the bird noises, please.
It's just wild. The operation they have is wild.
It's
And
really-
But
really
that's
wild.
so that's what the guy said. Apparently, because you notice how it's that new material on the vertical walkways and stuff, kind of sticky, to where whenever you're going down any kind of incline, it's
It's
sticky.
like a pseudo track.
A pseudo
Yeah.
track, because they said that they had a few years ago, it was really rainy and a couple elderly people fell, and they said that somebody noticed the following year all of that was replaced. It's that pseudo track.
Can't have old people falling down to the
Well,
Masters.
those old people have
Now,
Masters
there was a
tickets
hot
for
sports
life.
opinion of the day that we've debated much, but it's worth mentioning on the pod. MT's take is that fairways are 60 yards wide. He would tear that course up. And that's what you said. So we're going to give you a forum here to defend
Would you like
yourself.
to double down, or maybe?
My
a
response,
couple of us
the
have some
fairways are
opinions
wide,
about
the
that.
my
greens
response
are
was the
very
best players
tricky
in the
looking.
world fail to make the cut. So
Yeah, but that's a cut. What would we what would we consider as a good round?
Well,
that's the question.
no, what would you said?
What would you consider a good round? First time, let's say you play from 7,100
Well, that's
yards.
the question. What distance am I
Well,
playing
let's say
from?
you play the member tees because you're not
well,
going to play
member
the
tees
tournament
are 6,600. I'm lighting that up. That's not even close.
This is just further proving our point.
You guys think, let me
old
ask you a question.
fairways.
6,600 yards, 70-yard wide fairways. You guys think I'm going to struggle?
No, but the greens
I think
are rolling
you would
at
be
a.
lucky to break 80.
I do too.
Kind of agree.
That's
too.
the most absurd take I've ever heard in my life.
You're a great golfer. It has nothing to do with that.
He is the best golfer here
Yeah,
by
that's
far.
fine.
Yeah.
Plus one, plus
would
two, yes.
I would put my entire bank account
Well,
that I would break 80.
you don't
from,
wanna do
from
that.
the members
It all
tees.
comes down to your approach game. After seeing those greens in person, like on TV, when I saw 18 green in person, I was like, holy smokes, this is way smaller in person than it is on TV.
They are a
on
lot
TV,
smaller.
it looks pretty big. But when you see it in person, it's small, and there's
And when you think you hit a
undulations
good
everywhere.
shot, it zips back. And
it's just
you're off the green.
And those, you've got a 6 foot, let's call it an 8-foot putt slightly downhill, and they give it the babiest little touch. And you're like,
Bye, Felicia.
okay. No, you're like,
Well,
you're
this
thinking
guy-
that's 3 feet
When we
short.
were
so
walking,
nice.
when
and
we
it
were,
goes
just-
so
they are
far
so
past. It's
pure.
like, how do you judge?
Yeah.
How do you hit it lighter than
when
that?
we were walking up 9, Patrick Reed, who played by himself, probably because nobody on
Yeah,
tour
Patrick
likes him.
Reed, yeah.
Patrick Reed was coming up 9, and it has that false front, famously, right? And Patrick Reed hits a wedge, and it hits on the green, and the guy next to us starts going, spin off the green, spin off the green, spin off the green, and it spins off the green. He goes, yes, screw Patrick Reed.
Yeah, no,
Not a lot of fans out
he
there.
was enthusiastic.
They don't like him.
It would
But
be
we-
lonely to. We talked about this when we were out
he
there.
was by
The
himself.
most lonely thing in the world would be playing by yourself in a practice round out there, just all by yourself.
Everybody else is all
Everybody's got
chummy.
friends.
So
Everybody's
think about
chumming it
this.
up. Yeah, you got Tom, Kim, and Scotty are playing a money game today
Yeah.
with Sam Burns.
Well, and
it's-
you know, people are
you're by
like, it's
yourself.
embarrassing to eat dinner by yourself at a restaurant. What about playing a practice round by yourself in front of hundreds of
10
thousands
times
of
worse.
people?
Oh, good point.
10
I mean,
times
that
worse.
is because everybody's now wondering, do you not have friends? Does everyone
That's-
hate you?
yeah, no friends.
Because that's what we're wondering.
because there's someone would have gone off like to play with you. I'm
Now
sure.
listen, speaking about live players,
tea time.
Reed being one, there were some big live, not a lot of them, but there were some big live fans today. We saw a handful of guys who were lived out. They had the
Yeah.
team logos on the hat, on the shirt.
You're talking about
saw-
fans.
Fans.
saw a
Patrons,
husband,
yeah.
husband-wife
Patrons.
couple with matching
Patrons.
pink
Well,
goats.
There was
Greg
some
Norman
goat
was there
shirts.
today.
Was he?
Yeah, Greg Norman was on the grounds today.
So when we were watching at the par 3 today, DJ tees off, and there was a guy that was he's the Aces, is that right?
4 aces,
Yeah, something like that.
something like that.
He goes, go, 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 stop, spin back,
Do
And-
something. Yeah. That's what, yeah.
I mean, he was so, and he had the whole gear up. He had the Aces hat, the shirt,
Yeah.
and everything. And I go, look back at him, I go, wow, you're
Super
like
fan.
Yeah, you are a super fan. You must be like one of a few.
The par 3 was really. What did y'all think? Like when you walk down, it's kind of an amphitheater, right? Like
Yeah.
it's almost like a little
I loved
down in
it.
its own little area.
So it's like a bowl, right?
It is a bowl.
The
It's
par
a bowl,
3
and there's 2 or 3 ponds, and like it was really cool. What were your thoughts? 'Cause I've
Yeah,
never,
no,
like-
it was like its own little world. You're at Disneyland. There's the course.
Yeah.
And then there's like this other section of the property. It's just like this little valley with the water and just this
Well, it's like
haven.
a mini. It's like a mini Augusta. It's like if
Yeah.
they took the 18-hole course and just
It's
shrunk
amazing.
it down.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
And there were
we were
thousands
sitting,
of people
We were
down
sitting
there.
there, and I thought actually I kind of enjoyed this more because you can see all the holes.
Yeah,
and
you can
just
see what's
sit.
going on
Yeah.
kind of all around.
yeah, you can. I mean,
Yeah.
You go behind 3 or 3, right? Was it 3?
Yeah.
And you just sit there up on that hill.
yeah.
You can see pretty much the first like 7 holes.
Oh, speaking of which, on hole 3, we learned a new rule today at Augusta National.
what's that?
You're not allowed.
Well, Colin got called out for laying down.
No, that was me.
It was Cub.
You
I
laid
literally,
down.
well, we were sitting,
Yeah.
and I decided to just lay
Just
down
lay
for a
down.
second. And the guy walks over and he goes, "I'm sorry. Apparently, it's a rule that you can't lay down or something." And then we were like, "Kind of okay." And then he goes, "Trust me, I kind of want to lay down there right next to you."
Was it a
grass is so
volunteer?
nice.
no,
like
it
a
was
work-
one of the
well, a
security
volunteer
guys.
worker.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, we spoke to a handful of members.
We did.
today, and MT.
you had a
and
great.
Evan
You had a
Oh,
great
yeah,
line.
hold
that
on.
you-
We gotta-
you
we gotta-
commented on the line.
Barrett has a line because we were
because
talking about
most
it.
people probably walk up to them and they're like
The guys in the
asking
green
questions. Or
The
they're,
members.
you know,
the members.
Yeah, with the walking around with their green jackets on, you know who
Yeah.
they are.
But if you want to talk to one, you walk up to them and all you say, you look them in the eyes, take your sunglasses off, and you just say, "Thank you for having us this week." And they always go, "Oh, we're glad to have you. Where are you from?"
Such
and you
a
wind up
BJ
having
line.
It is
conversations.
such a BJ line.
Well, he
Yeah.
said
I'm
said it, and then we walked up on 2 guys, and he just he kind of like beelined around
He
because
did.
we were going behind him, and he just went in front of him and started doing it. I was like, "What?
You
in the
gotta
world
kind of
are
you gotta
doing?"
kind of start to
It's-
move off, and then they'll go,
Yeah.
"Where are you in from?" And you go, or they'll go,
Yeah.
"Hammerback."
No,
What's
they
that? One
did.
guy said, "Hammerback." What's ever? And we wound up talking, and then after about 30 seconds, they
So
go,
BJ.
"Well, have a nice time."
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
done.
Yeah, they,
Yeah.
yeah, they want you to
Okay,
leave
great.
him alone.
I mean, it is the
It's not
cheesy.
cheesy. It's
I
genuine.
didn't
It's
say
a-
it was
but that's
cheesy. I said
30
it's such a
seconds more
BJ
than
line.
anybody else.
I
has
said
got.
it was a little cheesy, but it works.
It's
It
I was
did work.
genuine.
You had a
thanks for-
100% hit rate when you walked up and said that to the members.
Speaking of interrupting folks and talking to folks, can we toot our own horn a little bit? We all wore our Hammerback hats and gear the past 2 days, wearing our master stuff for everybody on the show, but we got approached multiple times. We had people asking to take pictures with us. We had those folks from Houston take pictures with us today, and multiple times people stopping us and saying Hammerback.
A lot of hammer calls.
Yeah.
21 golf course stopped us
And
today. Wanted to-
Another fun fact:
partner up.
we had some Hammerback gear. There was some outside the ropes, and there was some inside
Yeah.
the ropes as well.
Adam
Schenk.
Adam
was
Schenk.
rocking
Shout
some
out
Hammerback
Adam
gear.
Schenk.
Shout out. I think that was my highlight of the
Oh, 100%.
the highlight of the tournament was standing there behind was that one
It was number one.
by one green that bunker next to one on the left hand side, and he just started chatting us up a little bit. We said something about belts. You were wearing the matching belt.
I was
And then
wearing.
you guys
so
both started doing
it was
this
the
to each
Santa
other?
Rosa belt.
Yeah. And he chatted us up and showed us his belt. We got a good picture
Well, yeah,
of
we'll
it.
throw the picture up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
throw
put
the
it
pic-
up in a second.
But what
Yeah.
was funny was
How cool is
so
that?
I pulled my shirt up and I was like, Adam, love it.
Hammer
And,
back.
and then he kind of pulled his shirt up and did the same thing. And we started doing this, hey. And his caddy looks over at us. He goes, "You guys are kind of weird. Keep pulling up your shirt and showing." He's
Yeah.
like, "Can we cut that out over there?"
Yeah.
And everybody kind of laughed, but we're going. And then somebody pointed out in the photo we have of Adam doing this, his caddy's kind of giving us a little stank eye. I think he was like, "Guys, I'm trying to focus my player here. Will you stop messing with
Adam
him?"
was having fun. We appreciated that.
Yeah.
That was great.
And he
Yeah,
said
but
he liked our shirts, so it was
Hammerback
great.
apparel is in the Masters tournament.
In the Masters.
That's incredible.
pretty awesome.
Pretty good.
Very surreal.
Adam
We
Schenk
saw
to
some
the
other-
moon.
we-
Let's go.
we saw
Let's
some
go.
Oh, I hope he wins. That's my new horse.
We saw
there.
some other celebs. MT and E were drooling over Paige Spiranac and going to get a picture with them.
No drool. We just got a picture of her.
They call that
She's a very
admiring, I think.
Yeah, she's
actually-
a very famous.
We're in the biz. She's the biggest
OG
name in the biz.
She's the OG Instagram golf girl.
because she's
And
good at golf.
Who else did we see?
she actually is pretty good at golf.
Tell them
She's
about
very
your
smart.
little rendezvous yesterday.
We had so many. There was a lot of
Well, no, when you guys
With JD.
with yeah.
with who?
John Daly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. MT and I, because we went in a little bit later, and we went to
Who Tears?
Hooters because John Daly
Tears? Who
is at
Tears?
Hooters signing stuff, and so MT and I were like, okay, well, before we go in, we'll park the car, and the parking lot's right by Hooters. We'll just go in and get a drink, maybe
gotta
get a
meet
couple
John.
wings, and meet John. So we did, and we went through the line, and I tried to FaceTime him with our buddy Nick, who was on the show a couple weeks
put
ago.
that
Nicky
video up.
Sticky.
And it was really funny because we had already
Hooters.
gone through the line once, and we didn't have anything else for him to sign. And I'm like, hey John, I got a fellow Razorback fan here, and he just kind of completely ignored us. But
Well, MT said he was so
here's-
sad.
Yeah,
He was
here's
sad.
my so John
just
Daly.
signing things.
John Daly at the Augusta Hooters it's an American tradition, right? You
an
got
institution.
baseball, apple pie, John Daly. at
be an
Augusta
American
Hooters.
man
All
and go
right?
get you a John
And so-
Daly signature.
but you always see these photos. John's out there playing putting, and he's smoking cigs with fans and stuff. I mean, he does smile for your photos, and he's nice. But
cigarette
we
over here.
grabbed he has portraits, solid size portraits. And I asked the guy, I go, so how much to
Himself?
buy it and for him to sign it? I'm expecting 150 or something. They're like, it's $20.
Oh yeah,
And
best deal ever.
I was like, what do you mean 20? Like, I was like, well, how much for him to sign it? And they're like, no, it's $20. And I was like,
20
oh,
plus tip.
okay.
No,
And so,
you got two of them.
So
Yeah.
I got a photo and I got John Daly to sign it. And poor John, it makes me feel sad. He's like one of those lions that's beaten down in the zoo. Like,
yeah.
dude, he's sitting there and he's got a cigarette. He looks like he's just so tired because he's been signing for 2 straight days.
Oh,
He
yeah.
signs.
He's got 5
his
days
face
left.
is doing this. So his face is, and then John picture. And then he goes back to sad,
And he's
it's
just smoking,
back
and he's
to
just
sad.
smoking and
Sad,
signing,
it's like
smoking and
seeing,
signing.
it's like seeing your hero growing up, and you're like, man,
Yeah. Well,
Can
when we
we
went
paint-
back for the FaceTime, I didn't push it much because of that reason. There was nobody else really in line. There was one guy that got a signature as I'm like turning around to him. And then I was just like, I don't know. And he kind of was just smoking a cigarette and enjoying himself. Nobody was bugging him. I was like, kind of leave that lion to calm down a little bit. He just
yeah. So
been
that
signing a lot of things.
like everything inside the Augusta grounds is better than you anticipate. If there's one thing that I'm like, that just kind of made me sad was the John Daly at Hooters experience.
You had
Wasn't
high
great.
expectations.
JD
Well, you just feel a little guilty that you just
come on, man.
Oh,
It's
tears.
like
yeah.
who cares? It's a classy place.
Yeah.
Well, what was the one thing that you didn't expect from these 2 days of the Masters? We'll go Colin and E first because truly you going in blind. What did you least expect, and then what sort of did anything meet your expectations?
I think everything. Well, I'll answer the first question. Everything exceeded my expectations by far, because it's just hard to imagine. Like you see it on TV, and it's all zoned in, right? Like it's all zoomed into their shots and everything like that. But when you get the whole picture of everything, it's unbelievable. I would say that just the way that they keep that place pristine, like to every little thing from the bathrooms to the concession to the grounds is a system is unbelievable to me.
Like Disneyland. Everybody relates it to Disneyland.
I mean, it's a full system, and they've got it down to a science.
And you don't notice any of it. That's
No,
the thing.
and that's
if you're
the crazy
there,
part.
you don't know what's going on.
I don't notice how
that's the point.
how the trash can's always empty, and I never see anybody emptying the trash can. Like
you don't have
I don't even know how this
Every
stuff
time
happens.
you threw something away, it was like, oh, this is a brand new trash can, and you go
That
to
is
parks
true.
and you go to all these things,
don't notice
or these
it.
other
No.
golf things, and everything's overflowing, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna be that asshole that like throws the last thing on top of this overflowing volcano, and no, not here.
It's true.
so it was didn't meet expectations and did? Is that the
No, what exceeded your expectations and what was you like? I expected this to be that
surprised
way, and
you?
it actually was.
what? Yeah. Everybody says when you see it, it's just incredible and it's well manicured and all that sort of stuff. And I would say 1,000%, like even the grass that the people are walking on across the fairways is still in pretty good shape. And just the way that the grass and everything's well maintained. The course is incredible. We saw after Burns and Scotty were doing some bunker shots on that one hole. What was it, 13, 14? Whatever that hole was.
14.
There was a
14.
guy back there with this big long stick just kind of getting, getting
Standoff.
the
whip.
fringe.
Yeah, the whip.
He was
The
whipping
whip.
the fairways.
Yeah.
That's right.
Whip
Whipping the
up and I
fairways
call
and
it the
stuff.
whip.
The whip.
It was just wild how well.
Never seen one before.
I remember
They
the
take care
first
of the
time
course.
we went. The thing that I didn't expect was I saw the line for the golf shop, and it was like 4,000 people, and I thought this is going to take 4 hours, and we were in 5 minutes. It's the most efficient golf. It's unbelievable. You get in there and you find your stuff, and there's 100 checkout people, and it's like you just breeze through this golf shop.
I think I was going to say, I think the thing I didn't expect, I'll say, is I said a second ago, is the size of the greens are smaller than what they appear on TV. I didn't realize how small. I knew they had a lot of undulation to them. Didn't realize how small
That's
they
what
were.
a lot of people don't.
The fairways are
expect.
massive.
On
Fairways
TV,
are massive.
I didn't realize that, and I didn't realize the greens
when
were
you
so
watch
small.
the Masters on TV, you can tell there's hills, but it's not until you walk it that you're like, holy
moly.
God,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is I mean, you are exhausted.
are
Number
walking.
number 10 is a legitimate blue ski run,
Yes.
like downhill.
That's so true.
I mean, it is down.
Well, BJ, how many miles did you end up walking yesterday? Full day yesterday.
I walked 30 something thousand steps yesterday and like
Those flofers really held up.
10.9 miles in Flofers, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to stay in shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out Dan Ruberton, Flofer
Yeah.
Dan.
Shout out
I
flofers.
should have taken a picture. We can send it to him. He knows I've been there, but I'll send it to him again. But yeah, you just go up and down. And the crazy thing is we're in our, we're relatively youthful,
Pretty good shape.
lads.
Do a lot of
But
walking.
there's some really old people walking around, and I don't know how they get up
Yeah.
and down.
Yeah.
Because like even going back up to the clubhouse, it's a hike,
Well,
dude.
we went down. There's that grassy area to the left of 18. There's a big, wide, grassy area outside the concession stands, and we were like, "Oh, let's just walk over here for a minute." And I think because we walked down, that climb back up that hill was even hard. It was steeper and harder. It was, it's just crazy. It's insane. It's a great experience. Everybody should experience it at least once in their life because it's wild. And I think the other thing, we're talking about how well people take care of stuff. One of the things I noticed is that as far as like the patrons go, nobody's leaving trash on the ground. Like I dropped dropped a barbecue packet, and I picked it up.
Except
And
for
people are
one
picking
thing.
stuff up.
There's one item littered in the bushes across Augusta National. What is it?
Zen.
Zen.
Old
Yeah.
Zimbabwe.
Zens?
I went into the bathroom.
the guy in the bathroom.
Yeah,
Zen.
BJ's got to tell them the story about the bathroom.
I went into the bathroom and there was a urinal out. You see these just Zen packs all over the place. People are spitting them out. And when I went to the bathroom and there was a urinal out and there was a guy with like a maintenance person with like a roto-rooter, like a hand thing.
Yeah, and I saw had gloves on.
And of course I'm going to ask him. I go, oh, what's going on? He goes, man, people just dumping those Zens down here.
I
Things
hate
all
Zens.
clogged up because I hate those Zen
I hate
things.
those Zen things.
Keep the Zens out of the tin.
They literally
You're,
told me
you're
that.
hearing it here first. Barrett said it. He goes, give it 2 years. They're going to ban Zens.
They will.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Zen will be banned at the Masters. So 100%.
Zen's on notice, guys.
It'll probably
got
be
it.
next
Like
year.
the Zen.
Or like every urinal is going to have a little like trash pouch right next to it to spit your Zen
Yeah,
out
put your Zen in this
into.
bucket.
I mean,
They'll figure it out.
Say Zen.
when we were walking out of like certain concession stands, you have to go around. They have
Yeah,
little.
they're everywhere.
They're just littered.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
I contributed a few of those.
Yeah.
I spit a bunch out. But I looked for trash cans.
Should we or are we allowed to talk about the other thing on the first like 20 minutes we were in that we saw that we asked those guys a question about? Where there's tripods set up all throughout the course, and we walk up and there's little like machines on them, and we walk up and there's 2 guys per tripod, and we walk up and go, well, what are you guys doing? They're like, we can't tell you. We're like, oh, that's cool. What, no, seriously, what is it? They're like, no, we seriously can't tell you.
All
Like,
we can tell
what?
you is that we're gathering data.
Gathering data,
And
yeah.
we talked later, we were like, if they could have told us, well, what are you gathering data on? They'd be like, you.
Oh, 100%.
Like all of you.
They had
It
these,
was
these
wild.
roped off areas with like these crazy looking equipment on a
What do you
tripod.
think? 3
thing.
to 4 per hole. It seemed
Yeah,
like
several per hole.
Yeah.
That's all they said.
Oh, yeah,
All we can
yeah.
tell you is
I
we're
know what you're
gathering
talking about.
data.
Yeah.
And it looked
then
like one of
Barrett
those
asked,
machines they shoot distances on for
Yeah.
road construction or
yeah,
whatever.
and Barrett asked the guy. He goes, "How many times you get asked that question?" He goes, "Dude, every 5 minutes." And we were like, "And how tired are you of answering it?" And he goes, he just like didn't even respond.
He's like,
And it was
"Every
like,
5 minutes."
He said they
Tired.
asked for like one of those screens. He's like, we've asked him if we could get a little screen around us so people
you
stop
should just
asking.
put a sign up that says, I can't tell you
Just
what
say,
I'm
"Don't
doing.
ask."
Don't ask.
Don't ask me
And
what
he's
I'm
like,
doing.
no, they won't do that.
Pretty
blah, blah.
wild. A
Do not
lot of
pet.
guesses on what they're doing. Got to be distance measurement or
one thing.
one of the- go
well, I
ahead.
was gonna say the one thing that I noticed this time that I didn't really notice last time is like the backdrops. You know, like an aiming corner and all that. And you start looking at, and you'll see it on the broadcast. They'll show it on the tournament, but like the backdrops of like 12 and 13 and 14, how perfectly well laid out and layered. Like the bottom was like azaleas, then they got like these white shrubs,
Yeah.
then they got
Yeah,
taller
yeah.
trees. It's like perfect depth for like an amphitheater on all those holes.
And even the grass, remember we were watching them skip over the pond.
Yeah.
And the grass that comes down to the water is like perfect. There's not like a bank, right? It's just the grass hangs kind of down
Yeah.
to the water's edge. And it's just like,
Just stops.
it's wild.
One
No,
of the
it's
one of
wild.
the highlights of I think my day yesterday, this morning, I don't remember, was watching Jake nap time smush
geez, on the range.
at the range.
Holy
We did.
moly.
We
He
went and
was
sat behind him on the range for about 15 minutes.
He was putting balls almost out of bounds
What was that? We
out the
saw
back of the
distance,
range
like
with his driver.
25.
So it's the
330?
range at Augusta is slightly uphill, and it goes towards Berkman's Drive, and it's I think 360 to the end, and there's 320 or 315 to carry that one bunker. He was flying, and it doesn't even look like he's swinging hard. Jake Knapp just
Holy
a
moly.
little buttery swing.
Smash.
Well,
And that's
and
just-
Adam Scott was right next to him, who has a beautiful swing, but Adam Scott was maybe 35 yards short of him and swinging.
swinging hard.
Yeah.
Knapp
Jake Knapp
was
doesn't
just
even
kinda
look
like-
like he's swinging, and
That's
it's
why I
going
feel like-
330 in the air.
I feel like I can just relate so much
Oh my
with
God.
Jake.
God.
You know, like I think
Wait,
he's a great
how's that
golfer.
new driver going?
It's going good now.
Oh, okay.
We
All right.
figured it out. We got the kinks. You know,
Got the key. You,
Oh, yeah, we're good.
broke
How
Just
it.
needed some time alone with her.
just need a little
Yeah.
bit more
How
time
many
alone with her.
times over the last 2 days where you just standing there and you're like, you're watching somebody line up for an approach. You're like, God, I just want to go out there and hit a ball
I
right
know.
now.
Oh.
I just want to hit one.
So
Oh,
I told
man.
the guys,
Yeah,
I
no,
go,
Colin did have a good point.
I
This is
said,
good.
guys. Yesterday, I was like, "This is so fun. Thank you so much for getting these tickets. This is great." But I've got a pit in my stomach. I know that I'll never hit a shot here ever. In my
You'll never
entire
play.
life.
Never, but
And
we never say never.
You're the
I think
closest one of the
The
five
five of us,
Yeah. That's
you
what
have
BJ
more of a
said.
chance than anybody
But I
else.
go-
get that Perry weather system.
But
in
I
there.
go, man, it just sucks to know that like most likely I will never be like at that par 3 today. It killed me. I was like, how fun would that be to go and play that?
Go ahead.
Well, MT
shot.
had a funny bit. He said, "Do you think members ever get a little bit saucy in the clubhouse?" And they're like, "You know what, Richard? Putter and a pitching wedge, par 3, you and me for $500,000 right now."
Well, yeah, no. And Evan was like, all right, pink slips for our Gulf streams. Let's go, pussy.
Let's see what you got.
What you got, Richard?
Yeah.
It's wild. We did
Richard.
have a little bit one of the fun things. Or I think
Richard.
it's kind of fun is as you're walking in or out, you can kind of go by that area with I don't know if there's a name for it or whatever, but by the clubhouse where it's gated off and there's all the tables and stuff.
Yes.
And you kind of walk by and you're just watching all these members and people that are behind the ropes just drinking, and then they're kind of looking at you and you're just kind of like, well, I'd love a cocktail right now, but okay.
So that
Because all they offer is beer and white
wine.
Beer and white wine.
No, but behind
which
the ropes,
is
that's
kinda
the real
disappointing.
VIP.
So that's something I wanted to talk about was up by the club. The clubhouse is awesome. It's multiple
yeah.
buildings,
Yeah.
and you're up on the hill next to 1T, 18 Green, where it all comes back together. But there's this massive tree right in front of the clubhouse.
Big old tree.
And there's this small single black chain link fence that separates, what we call the dukes and the earls and the princes from the commoners out on the other side.
We're just all staring at them.
And so they're kind of like standing on their side of this little dinky fence thing, like talking to us, like, and they're back there enjoying their cocktails at those little umbrella tables. But it's just this very surreal moment because you're like, nope, it's very expensive to get here. And yet I feel
Well, and you see a lot of the
like
big
I'm
plebeian.
There's
like
a
I
lot
feel
of
like
celebrities,
a
right? There's a
peasant
lot of
because like
people
I
there.
can't go back there. I can't talk to him.
I watched a guy and he's drinking this cocktail and I'm like a little bit salivating and a little bit jealous, but then I'm also like, yeah, screw him.
Well, that's the thing. In the back of my mind, I was
and
always
then he
thinking,
goes, he's got a shrimp cocktail. He's just going like this, and I go, all right, yeah, you win.
Yeah.
well, in the back of my mind, I'm always kind of thinking when I go up and I say, hey, thank you for having this week. If they'd go, you're welcome. Would you like a cocktail or a shrimp?
Yes.
Yeah.
Follow me.
Yeah,
They
that's
don't do it.
That's
It's
the
good,
only
but-
downside is that they don't sell
that's why you do
high
it.
noons or liquor
Oh, yeah.
drinks. You know?
Yeah. Genuine,
Evi-
right?
yeah, genuine,
Genuine. Yeah.
I am
Eventually-
genuinely
So-
thankful, but I also genuinely
So
want
this
a
is what's
cocktail.
cool is
Genuinely
that
want
so
a
that
cocktail.
entrance that connects. So the pictures of all of those tables with the umbrellas, and then they have this bar with like 5 people working back there, and that's kind of this like fans literally just stand there hoping to see
Well, that's where the
players
famous
or
people
like
are, though.
all the
yeah.
famous people are there, or like Brad Faxon sitting there having a chat with 2
You
members
saw Jim
yesterday.
Furyk, right?
They're all just hanging at
Yeah.
this
Saw
one
Furyk, I
little
saw Scott
tree.
Van Pelt.
SBP, all those
They're all
guys are
hanging out
standing
under
there.
this one tree right next to
listen,
the clubhouse.
Colin,
it's really fun.
Colin was an arm's length from T. Gray yesterday. You could have slapped his ass, but you pussied out.
For
What
those
was
who
that
don't
experience
know
like?
who T Gray is, we call him Mr. T.
You know what? This is
If you don't know who T. Gray
This is a-
is,
His caddy though
This
goes,
is a good
"T,
segue,
hey,
though.
T, T."
Yeah.
E and I were talking today. You know what I didn't see a whole lot of at the Masters? Sunday Red.
There's more Hammerback
There's
at the
more
Masters
Hammerback
than
than
there
there
was
is
Sunday
more
Red.
Hammerback.
Let's go, boys. Hey, let's go.
Hey, Dilly Dilly.
That is a good point.
Pretty
though.
solid.
I didn't see any Sunday Red.
Tigers brand Sunday Red off to a bit of a slow start.
Unless
Well,
he
have
wins.
they launched? I guess maybe we should. Is it launched?
Anyway, but Colin could have touched Tiger. And
That would have got you kicked out
So that was
real quick.
So you know what's funny is I was telling these guys, like, huge golf fan. I grew up actually hating golf, but every Sunday my parents loved golf, so we watched golf. So I grew up watching all the big time guys, right? Ernie Els, Fred Couples, Greg Norman, all those
BJ.
guys. BJ. And literally I saw Tiger and I was like, this is the first time I've ever seen him in person. Like, I've seen him a million times.
what'd you
and I've-
think?
He's
big.
Well, I'm a small human, but I
He's
was
big.
like, I go, he's a big dude.
Big guy.
He's big. And he just carries a presence around him that you're like, yeah, you're the real deal. I'm not going to deny that.
You know what's kind of funny though? We were talking like guys walking off, and I remember when we went and saw Scotty before the year he won. Cub and I were there, and this was before he was Scotty now. And there wasn't a lot of people following him, and now there's everybody
Oh,
following.
it was
him.
wild.
Oh, Scotty, yeah,
huge
he had
following
the largest
today.
following by
by far.
Yeah.
But 3 years ago, it was like maybe a handful of people, people from Dallas or whoever, and so we kind of walked alongside him. Tiger has had people following him for 30 years.
Well, so
20,000 people everywhere he goes.
we talked about that too. That same point of everyone's going to see Tiger this week as well, and it's like he might not even make the cut. Like we don't know, but he's got the biggest crowd following
But
and Scotty.
I think people might be kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to see Tiger play
Yeah,
the Masters.
that's what it
I
is.
think,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Because I'm in the same
It's a
boat.
FOMO thing. You
Like
gotta go see him before.
No, you want to say I saw Tiger?
I'd probably
Yeah.
put
At the Masters.
five
Yeah.
grand on the fact that he's probably not going to make the cut, or even be able to walk to the back, the back part of the tournament. But I mean, he's a legend. I mean, he is the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
Oh yeah.
I told Colin if MJ happened to be like, "Oh, I'm going to come back to basketball," and he was playing the Mavs, I'm like, I'm going to go,
Yeah,
even
this
though
is
he's
a good
going to
point.
suck. Like I'm going to go.
Speaking of celebrities of the Masters, MT made a good point today that I was thinking about because we were talking about members after my MT calls it a cheesy line, saying hello to him, and it was
cheesy.
it's genuine,
It's cheesy,
but
Like cheesy.
but I was like, I bet what they do is they tell like the high profile members, Buffett, Gates, like, hey, just hang at the clubhouse, or whatever. And MT was like, well, actually, that's probably true because if Peyton Manning's a member now, and if Peyton Manning was out there walking around, there'd be more people around him probably than anybody else. Like it'd be a huge
distraction. Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if Peyton just sort of chills at the clubhouse, or he probably comes in on Sunday. He probably doesn't come on these days, but but that's a good point. If he was walking around, people would be like, I want to get a picture of Peyton Manning. Oh, here he is. Like,
they get
Well,
attacked.
I had a friend of mine who got married, and his parents were friends with Jessica Simpson. And, more people were.
is this a long story?
No, it's a short one. More people were obsessed with getting a picture seeing Jessica Simpson than the bride.
You
felt
did-
really bad.
you did
for
get
me.
a picture
Oh,
with-
I
I
got a
could
selfie
definitely
with her.
Come get a picture with Jessica
But it'd be
Simpson.
like that. It's kind of like, oh.
Well, it's kind of like Paige. Paige's
thinking the same
Paige's friend was going around with her, walking around with her, and everybody was kind of handing her the camera, like, "Hey, will you take a picture with your friend?" That's kind of like
that was kind of her friend probably ended up having to take,
shut it.
Yeah. Paige's friend probably ends up taking what 150.
So because right
pictures?
after we left, some other guys walked. Hey, can we?
And
get one?
by the way, I will say, if I
Tell
was
him about
with
how
y'all,
she made fun of our camera.
oh yeah,
Oh,
all right.
God.
we
Yeah,
had
she
this
did dog
dinky,
us.
we had this dinky little camera, like.
Well, you can't bring
disposable
phones
thing.
in, so you have to
you
bring
can't bring
digital
phones
cameras.
in, so you have to
And
bring
who
I tried
has
to bring the
nobody has a
GoPro,
digital
'cause other
camera,
people
so I
had.
bought one for $20.
They made Evan check his
I had to
GoPro.
check my GoPro today, even
at
though other
the
people had
front.
them.
Oh, did you get it back? Well,
I got it
clearly,
back. Yes.
Yeah. But she kept going. So Paige Spranic's friends about to take photos, and she goes, "What is this camera? This
like,
thing
how do we
is
oper- how do
She
I
goes,
operate
is this
this
a
thing?"
toy or is it real?"
I want to be like, you know what? Nobody's asking
Have you ever
to be
been to
in
the
pictures.
Masters before?
Just take a picture and shut up. Nobody cares about your opinion. You're not even in the picture.
It is kind of a funny little camera, but
It's a terrible
it
camera.
worked. We got some great
we
pics with
did.
it.
We got some good photos.
I bought it 3 years ago, and I bought a waterproof one because there was rain in the forecast. So it's a
Wow.
waterproof
that makes
camera.
sense.
But yeah,
You.
All right.
Yeah.
What was your favorite food item?
you start because you sampled.
Go ahead.
you
No,
had
no.
everything.
I'll go in
It's
at the
either
end because I
finale.
have
I think
three of
we should
everything.
pull
You
up
just-
your credit card.
I'll
of,
go
like,
ahead. My
how much you did
favorite
buy.
food item was the one that I didn't get, and that was the chicken biscuit. Sold out.
The breakfast sandwich.
The breakfast.
They
Well,
were
and-
sold
and
out.
the
They were
chicken
sold out
biscuit.
this morning at 9:45.
I know.
They need to make
So-
more breakfast sandwiches
it's like-
at the Masters.
There's demand.
Maybe they should measure that.
Where's the supply? No, that's the only negative thing I would ever say about
That you didn't get a
Masters.
breakfast, Sammy?
That I didn't get a breakest.
Because
sandwich.
everybody
it's so
talks
good.
so
It's so
mad
good.
yesterday.
Well, but
There's
people
some
were telling us
cocktails
how
is
good
probably-
they were, but they're
No,
gone
but
by.
okay, but the barbecue sandwich that I settled
barbecue
for, it was really good actually.
Well, the correct answer is the pimento cheese, which is the best item on the menu. But Cub claims that I would have to pay him $1,000 to try a pimento cheese.
I think it's actually gone up to 2,000.
Do you not
Why?
eat cheese?
Is it why?
I don't understand.
You don't even know what it tastes
Super
like.
nasty,
Oh
and
my
I think
God.
I'd throw
looks,
up if I ate
it.
it.
Looks super nasty.
I think
Well,
I'd throw
This
up.
man houses a Domino's pizza every night
Yeah.
and tells me that a pimento cheese sandwich looks nasty.
Domino's pizza is good.
God, I would destroy a pimento right now.
Also,
This is the
but-
same man that said he was going to host a Masters event and basically take, a bunch of legends to McDonald's dollar menu.
Sliders,
Sliders, mac and cheese.
Pizookie,
French fries.
Well,
French
the
fries,
pimento
all the
cheese
good
is
stuff.
but absolutely, I'm always going to do that. And kind of the low key dark horse thing this year was for me the peach ice cream sandwich, which I saw
very good.
Oh, I didn't get
slapped
one of
my
those.
Very
ass.
good.
Loved that.
I like the chicken salad. Chicken salad was good, but I will say today I took the pimento cheese and mixed it with the pulled pork sandwich, and that
You
was phenomenal.
dirty dog.
It was
No,
phenomenal.
he did. But I thought you were going to go pimento under the pulled pork bun.
No, I tricked you.
You threw me off.
I
'cause
took pulled pork off the bun onto the pimento flatbread.
It kind of threw me off. I wasn't expecting
well, that
that.
pimento
That's
gets
a
stuck
big
on that
player
bread.
move.
We can
That
skip.
actually sounds so
We
good.
It
can
was
skip-
really good.
We
It
can
was
skip
really good.
Thunder because he didn't eat anything on both days of the Masters. He didn't
You
get
didn't get a
anything.
sandwich, a cookie.
No,
The
I didn't
cookies were
have
phenomenal.
18 cookies.
What are you getting?
Thunder doesn't
What are
eat
you
till
getting?
about
No, you
5
guys
every
didn't
day.
didn't get
No,
anything.
I had the pulled pork and it was delicious.
Yeah, the pulled pork was good.
light beer was good too.
Michael,
Go
how many
on.
pulled pork
All right,
sandwiches
let's
did
give
you
us the
have?
rundown. What'd
Okay,
you get?
MT, go
all
ahead. You're the
yesterday and
expert here.
today.
So I was there. Yeah. So let's see. Yesterday.
Go through your orders, please.
So yesterday I had I hammered 2 pimentos, 2 pulled porks, a chicken salad, 4 chocolate chip cookies,
Yep.
an ice cream sandwich,
wanna
and
throw
the
up.
cheese straws.
Can I
and I did
mention
have
this
the
is
regular. By the way, the worst thing on the menu, and I'll tell the regular chicken sandwich because it's like a chicken sandwich you get from Chick-fil-A, but it's cold. It's not warm.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
cold.
it's not a
Can I
good-
mention
it's
this
not
was
good.
after we came back
Hold
home
on.
to get him a little Pepto before
that-
we went to the
Oh
course?
yeah, your tummy hurt.
Yeah. Okay. So I had too much.
tummy problem.
Tummy issues.
I did. I had too much. I overindulged, and we stopped at Walgreens and got me some Pepto. So I was prepped for this morning.
So that was yesterday. What'd you do today?
I went a little softer today because we were still having some after effects. So, but I will say the best thing on the menu that I was not expecting was the chocolate chip cookie.
That cookie
You had a
was
lot
good.
of those.
And how
I had
many
about
did you
6
have?
of those over the last 2 days.
Well, at one point, MT said I have to go to the
At least 2 or
bathroom,
3
and we
today.
waited. He and I waited for him, and he went to the bathroom. And he came back with 2 chocolate chip cookies.
Guys, I don't know
you did
how.
share one with me, which was good. It was great.
By the way, I was a team sharer.
Yeah,
generous.
I was.
that
I was generous
good.
with my.
You
Man
food.
of the
also,
people.
you also told Cub and I this morning you have this theory that your body can only absorb
Yeah, no, that's
X amount of
that's-
calories.
By the way, that's a lie. That's not true.
He
I
goes,
was just
if
making
I
it
eat
up.
30,000 calories
I
a
was just
day,
gonna
my
let you
body
have
can
that
only
one.
absorb.
No, no.
So I'm getting 20,000 free calories.
I was trying to justify because y'all were grounding me so hard about my cookie choices.
Well,
Here's
every
the
time we
thing.
turn around, you're walking out with something else to eat. It's like, what?
It's
Gotta
$1.
go watch the
It's
tournament.
basically free.
MT literally pretty much said you could have 10 Big Macs, but your body will cancel
MT's
out the last 5
like-
because it just maxes
I
It's
watched
like
out.
when
I
you have
watched
a little
MT.
kid. Like if you gave Max a bunch of candy, he would just eat it all. Like
All of
Jack
it.
and Max, they would
All
just
of
eat
it.
all the candy. The little kids, that's like you. You're like, you got money now, and you can just get whatever
Well,
you
I
want.
watched
You get
it. I watched MT
It's
get it.
dangerous.
I
It's
watched
dangerous.
It's
Yeah.
not a
3 or
good
4
sign.
times MT got a beer, and he'd take maybe a quarter of it and throw it away. And I'd go, "Did you already finish your beer?" He goes, "Dude, they're like $2. I'll just get another one in a minute." I was like, "But you had one in your hand already. It doesn't."
Hold on. I didn't get the chance to talk about the cookie. I want to talk about it. I don't know how. And if you ever go, it's like hard but soft at the same time.
And cold, but good.
And cold, but like not cold.
And chewy?
And then chewy, but I don't understand.
I'm very
And it
confused.
literally tastes like hardened cookie dough, which I know is like, oh, it's a cookie. But the point is, it tastes different. I don't know what it was. It was magical.
They were good.
Magic
So-
cookies.
Chocolate chip cookie.
I think we should finish off with that's a great point. Everyone's magical moment of the Masters.
Would you like to start?
I'd love to.
Go ahead.
I'd love to.
Was
like
it
you're
your
teeing yourself up.
15-minute golf shop run through that you and then had to wait on me and Cub for 30 minutes because we didn't know
I'm
where
a
you
little
were?
fellow, and I just ran through that place. I just was dodging people left and
Colin
right.
was able to get through lines faster than us.
Well, one of my favorite parts was when Colin said, "What's going on the green?" And Cub said, "You want to sit on my shoulders?"
We did today. Someone made a comment. They're like, God, it really does. Like, because we're all fairly tall. We were like, come down here to this level. This is like kind of Colin's level. You don't see as much down here.
I didn't know we were going to say that.
It's a tough life.
It's the cross I bear. But anyways,
I was born this way.
no, I think honestly the magical point for me was going in immediately when you pass the concession. I told you, Harris, yesterday, when you pass the concession and all the stuff, and it
See the
just
big
opens
sign,
up.
yeah.
Walk on to number
Yeah.
one.
It just opens up,
Yeah.
and it's just wide open, and then you're with all your boys, and it's like there's nothing that's gonna beat this.
The boys.
No phones, no distraction.
MT magical moment.
Well, one's easy, and this is going to cheat for. It's probably true for all of us, so I get it out of the way. Seeing Hammerback apparel
Yep.
Oh,
100%.
so good.
Yeah.
on a player in the Masters tournament is the
100%.
coolest thing
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
That's what I was going to say.
But I'll steal that so that way you get another.
all good.
But I was gonna say today. I mean, that was obvious, but today this was something the three of us saw. We were on 14.
Oh, you're gonna
Sam
you're gonna
Burn?
steal mine. Sam
Oh, is that
Burns-
what you were gonna say?
Sam Burns shot.
I'm sorry.
It was unbelievable.
It was. I know it's a practice round, He hits it in the trees and like people move over.
Oh,
and this is Sam Burge.
Forgot about that.
He just, what is he? Probably 185
Well, back
to the
up.
hole?
So he's on 14. He hits it left,
Left
into the pine
trees.
straw.
Two
Yeah.
trees in.
and he's
trees
maybe a foot or two from the ropes, and there's people there.
Yep.
And he was playing with Scotty and I think Tom Kim.
Tom
Didn't
Kim.
ask anybody to back up, which I thought was
No.
interesting because
No,
we were right
and
there.
we were standing right there. And now you can take the story. But he's in the pine straw, and he does not really have a shot at the green.
No, we didn't know what he was doing. He lined up left, and we're like, well, where are you going? Because there's branch here. There's another tree 20 feet away. And he just pulls a club. Didn't really think about
Tells
it.
his caddy.
Tells his caddy, points at something. We're like, what is he pointing at? And he in front of, I don't know, there's probably 100 people standing right there. He hits this low riser, probably 7-iron, goes under the first branch, raises up. There's an L in one pine tree, and he literally hits it through it. And then we see the ball fade right
Fades
onto the
right
green.
towards the green.
It was the coolest shot I've ever seen
Out of the
in
pine
person
straw.
in my life. And I know it's a practice round, but everybody there goes,
Holy,
"Ooh."
yeah.
Like,
he
it was
and,
just-
and,
It was,
and
it
he
didn't take
he
him
wasn't
but
he
10
wasn't
seconds to do it.
Yeah.
He wasn't sitting there going, oh, let's go this way, or can we do this? Or that? No, he was just like,
Just
we go
get up and
there,
hit the ball.
took his club,
And then
got
he
over the
walked
ball,
off, and he went,
hit it,
okay.
and walked off. I was like,
Yeah,
It
walked
was
off.
unbelievable.
Ooh,
It was maybe the greatest golf shot I've
What
ever
was
seen.
your what was
personally.
your magical moment? It sounds so cheesy.
yeah,
magical.
moment.
Can we come up with
Masters
some
moment.
better?
Masters moment.
Masters. Can we get an edit there?
Our boy Adam Schenk, who I'm hoping wins now. Wearing hammerback was a good one. The I'll just say, I think overall, just the place, the landscape, the architecture, the whole experience that you get. It's like, you know, I'm a big fan of the small things, and everything's in place. There's no stone that's crumbling off any of the walls. There's no blade of grass out of place.
We talked about this. If
The
they
houses are
if,
so nice.
If
I think it's
Augusta
just
National
so well
had a motto, their motto might be, if we're gonna do it, we may as well do it to 11, and that's everything.
Yeah.
Every little thing.
Yeah. And also Bryson just giving us a little air dap when we said, hey, Bryson, for Dallas, you know,
Oh, love that.
that was a good one. I think we had a lot of cool moments and interactions
A lot
with
of interactions.
players.
Yeah.
Patrons.
Some famous people and the patrons just coming up and taking pictures with us for our hammerback stuff. I think that was one of the coolest things in the world.
And that's probably what, and people always say this, practice rounds are more fun than the real tournament in person. And I think it's because we get those, you know, we're like fist bumping players and people, everybody's relaxed. It's
Yeah.
much more fun atmosphere, I guess.
Yeah.
And they'll attempt some shots that they probably wouldn't fair, just to see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, we were on 13 and we watched, you know, Spieth put down 3 balls and was like, what happens if I take a 3-wood left? Let's just see.
Yeah.
What happens if I take a 5-wood high? Like, they just try stuff out, and it's really, really cool. And occasionally they hit some crazy shots that is unbelievable. That was probably my highlight. Well, my highlight of the whole thing, my Masters moment, was it's always fun to follow Cam around and get to see what he does, and particularly on the par three when he had, you know, Henry out there and the kids. That was really fun to watch.
Yeah. Hold on.
But the other there's
Tiger's out. He left.
Yeah, there goes Tiger.
Get to the chopper. But
Couldn't help myself. All right, go ahead.
well, that was I was going to say the other Masters moment, apart from just following Cam around and watching him, was probably walking with Randy. Like, that was really cool. We walked a few holes with Randy and
Randy Smith.
Randy Smith, Scotty Scheffler's coach, who's at Royal Oaks, who we know, and he's my coach too.
He's my coach, too.
my
Yeah,
golf coach.
he
We got a
is.
lot of-
Well, it's
You and-
mine, but you've gotten one from him.
Yeah, so he's
How
my
many of
coach.
y'all have gotten lessons from Randy
I've
Smith?
got one
I've
at
gotten one.
10:30 on the 24th. Coming
Colin,
up.
you're next week.
I have not.
Cub, you've had
a few.
one.
And I'm
So
due
me
for
and
another.
Evan are the two that have not had one from Randy.
But that was
Smith.
funny because Randy was walking along, and this is
Probably
not
should
inside
have,
baseball,
but-
but Randy was not on the ropes watching every shot. But we asked him, like, what are you looking for? And he said, I watch the silhouette. I can just sort of tell. And a couple times, like on 13, you know, they're driving from way up on the tee box. You're probably, 400 yards away from him. And, Scotty swung and the ball hadn't left his club. And Randy said, perfect. because he's just looking at the swing.
Well,
We've
and
seen-
for people
which
that
is
don't know,
millions and
he's
millions
just
of
looking at
shots.
that.
yeah, and for the people that don't know, Randy Smith is a PGA.
You know what?
tour-
There was
he's a
one
PGA
funny story
Hall
that we
of
should tell.
Famer. He's
This
Scotty
is-
Scheffler's coach.
This is sort of a family story, but it's funny. When we saw Randy on the first day, he was walking with Larry Gatlin, who's the Gatlin brothers, rock band famous, right? And I said, "Hey, Larry, how you doing?" And he couldn't have been nicer. And we talked for a little bit. And my father-in-law, this is a long story. You got plenty of time. My
It's a
father-in-law
very long
was a
story.
rodeo cowboy, and back in the day, he would ride the headline bull. Like people would go to the rodeo to see Casey McLaughlin ride the bull. And one rodeo event, I think it was in Houston or someplace. This is in the 80s. The Gatlin brothers are opening for the rodeo, and they're warming up the crowd. And my father-in-law is off like to the side, doing his like warm up to get ready. And as he's doing that, Larry Gatlin's on stage. This security guy comes over and he says, Larry Gatlin says he can see you out of the corner of his eye and you're really distracting him. Could you go stretch or warm up someplace else? My father-in-law, who's tougher than a $2 steak, turns to the security guy and he goes, "You go back there and you tell Larry Gatlin, I'm the star of this show. All these people are here to see me, not him. You tell Larry Gatlin he's distracting me." And the security guard was like, all right, just water it up. And so when I saw Larry yesterday, I said, "Oh, my father-in-law," and he was like, "Well, tell him hello." I wondered in the back of his mind if he's like, "That's that son of a bitch I got into it with."
You let that story out.
40
with him.
years. Oh, I didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
But that was kind of fun getting to see Larry and walk around. And there's also, he was dressed to the nines. He looked like a, Dale
he
Carnegie
looked like
Railroad.
to the
that,
Kentucky
whole
Derby.
suit. Oh yeah.
That's another thing.
people were really
Masters
dressed
fashion.
up.
I bet 90% of the people are in shorts and golf shirt. But there's a handful of folks that are in some.
Well, we
There's some
saw
that are
some
dressed
guys
up.
today in
Long
dress pants, linen pants, button-down shirts. I'm going, what are you doing? This is not the play. Are you aware of how much you're going to be walking up and down? And
This
that doesn't
is
make
golf.
sense.
This is golf, people.
This is golf. But those are my Masters moments. Cub, go ahead.
Well, mine would be, it's not that different from anyone else's, but this is my second time. But I swear, you walk in on that first hole and you see it, and I've seen it before, and you're still just like blown away by it. And then number two might have to be today, seeing a hole-in-one live.
Oh, Big Stick Vic.
Big.
Gotta-
I've only seen one other one live, and it was my own. But hey, this one,
Oh
this
my
was second best. I mean, it was
best.
You were there
cool.
with Evan?
No,
No, he wasn't.
Wait,
no.
yeah.
I was on that different hole, but I was kind
So
of
the hole-in-one you saw today was Victor Hovland's in the par 3 contest.
Yeah.
big.
Speaking of,
Big stick
Ricky
Vic.
Fowler
Big
got a
stick
party
Vic.
tonight, boys, because he did win.
He ain't going to win the Masters,
Come
though.
on, Ricky.
Guarantee
Come
that.
on,
This is
Well,
gonna
Let's go, Pokes.
this is gonna drop right after the tournament, right? So
Yeah.
I guess
we'll know.
We'll know
by
whether
then.
the curse.
But
was
that's
broken.
like the Thunder and Cub and I were laughing because like the par 3 curse is kind of like the Madden curse. And I was talking to a guy a little while ago when he was talking about the Madden curse. Everybody who's on the cover of Madden gets hurt the next year. Yeah. And this guy was like, "Dude, why don't they just put John Madden on there? Nobody gives a shit if he gets hurt. Just start putting him back on the cover."
Does everyone remember who their pick was? Like their number one pick?
Well, we weren't allowed to pick Scotty, right? Because that was too
No,
easy.
yeah.
Let me tell you
mine
what,
was Wyndham.
Scotty
Mine
Scheffler's
was
going to win this
Wyndham.
week.
Scotty Scheffler is going to win.
He's going to win.
Yeah.
He
Well,
was.
We watched
Okay,
him
but we
play, and
couldn't
he
pick
was
him.
dialed.
I know we can't pick
So
him.
we
Scotty.
followed him
I'll
this
let
morning.
adjustments, but I'm going to stick with mine. You go first.
Do I want takebacks?
You can
No keepsies, no takeys.
No keepsies.
you
no,
can take whoever you want.
Not Scotty.
No,
We
no,
all-
I know.
Okay,
I
we all know we would pick
He
Scotty.
was dialed. We
He
know
was
he's gonna
so
probably
dialed. He's
win.
going to
It's-
win the
it's
thing.
Wild how good
I
he was hitting.
think I'm gonna stay.
With
I'm gonna
who?
stay with Wyndham.
Oh, Wyndham Clark.
I think he's due.
okay. No, that's
Yeah.
fair. It's a great pick. He's top
Yeah.
3 in the world.
Yeah.
Would love if Adam Schenk won. That'd be great.
Would love that.
New fan favorite.
I mean, if I can't pick the guy who's going to win, what am I?
We're supposed to
You can pick Cameron,
Pick who
Cameron
you
Young.
think will finish second.
Cameron Young.
Well, Cameron has finished second a lot, so he might. He
Hey,
might
so he's due as
he
well.
might be
They
due
talked
as
about
well.
that today on the
I'm just telling you, man. Scotty is. We
dialed.
watched a handful of his shots today and a bunch of them yesterday. Holy smokes! The
Every
kid,
shot I
Also,
saw him hit
Even in
today
a
was
world of PGA
dialed.
and live golf, like the best 100 golfers in the world, his
He's
ball
better than all of them.
striking is different than
One
the
of
rest
the other
of them.
things I want
He's
to say about
better.
Scotty is watching him in the practice rounds. He's over here like, shoving who he's playing. He's
Yeah, he's
laughing,
having
having fun. He doesn't care. He's like, I'm dialed. I know that. I'm good.
He knows he's
So
out. And they were
I'm
did
good.
you
shots
hear what they?
were-
So the other day, this was we were Masters live at the Masters. This was yesterday morning. I think y'all were out first round, and Evan and I were here. And whoever was on there said, "Yeah, I asked Randy Smith what Scotty's working on," and Randy said, "Nothing."
Nothing.
He's good.
And they said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "He's good."
yeah.
That's all he said. And they go, and the guy on the TV goes, "And that's really bad news for everyone else." Like, it's true. I mean, he's just
No, you know what he was working on today though? We saw because we watched him on sort of the back nine, and everybody else was working on like 40 or 50-foot flag putts.
Yeah.
And Scotty was grinding. He was hitting
grinding
4-footers to every single
to
fucking
5
location.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
actually love to see it.
one thing real quick was the thing I might have appreciated the most on the play. How many times did you guys watch him like hit pitch shots, 20-yarders? And it didn't matter which pro it was, right? It's 1 hop, 2 hop, spin.
Well, the
Yeah.
one that the one that
Sam
stood out
Burns,
to me,
Sam
the one
Burns
that
had
stood
a
out
bunch
to me
of those
was
across the creek.
the
and it
one that
was
stood out to
awesome.
me was when we sat there and watched Cam Smith, because Cam was hitting shots.
yeah, those
and
off the hill
they
on
were,
Nipper
they were
that
not.
was.
Yeah.
just
They,
nipping.
they were not
yeah.
like slowing down.
Nippers.
They were stopping.
Yeah.
It was
stopping.
incredible.
And he wasn't swinging with speed. It was just
He was just nipping,
slow and
just a little, just
wild.
giving the grass just a little haircut.
These guys are pretty good. But we'll
guys
have
are
to see
good.
what happens. I genuinely hope.
Well, who are you going to pick other than Scotty? Who do you think will come?
Cameron is playing well, so I'm going to pick Cameron,
Okay.
and that's not just a family thing. But if Cameron doesn't happen to play well, then of course our boy Adam Schenk, I'd love to have.
Love it. Come on, Adam. Let's go, baby.
But the funny thing is, it's kind of hard to get a gauge. This is kind of why it's interesting watching Scotty play well these 2 days. It's kind of hard to tell during practice rounds who's dialed and who's not, because they're hitting.
It's kind of very
They're hitting
nonchalant.
6 shots. They're trying things out.
Except for Scotty birdied 4
But
holes in a row
Scotty,
today.
yeah.
when we followed
But
it.
all the shots he hit were really,
I was
really
like,
good.
Yeah.
this is just
Well,
a different level of
we
golf.
watched Spieth
His
put
approach shots
3
were
balls
just
into Race Creek yesterday, and it's like, it doesn't matter. It's a practice round. Anyway, that's my pick. We'll see
All
what
right,
happens.
so we're waiting on CP.
So you got Wyndham
we got
Clark.
no money.
No, he's win. Oh, maybe not.
Well, I stuck with my same. I
Yeah,
had Wyndham.
Shank.
Yeah.
Shank.
All right.
See, Don?
That was it. Yeah.
Thigala, my boy. I'm
All right.
sticking with him.
We're just sticking
I'm going
with
to pick
him.
somebody
everyone-
only because I watched him hit about
Oh.
10 irons.
So
and
you're the
all of
only
them
one
went
to
within 5
change.
feet.
Jake Knapp.
No, Knapp's just got distance. This was Koepka.
Kepka.
Kepka.
Koepka
Yeah,
hit.
he's-
that's
So he was about 3 or 4 down from Knapp yesterday on the range, and he was hitting 150 and then 175 yards. I'm talking every iron. He hit 8 or 10 in a row,
He's a good
and they're all
golfer.
within 10 feet.
You know who we didn't see at all? I don't think any of us saw these 2 days.
I know you're going to say.
I didn't see Rory at all.
I didn't see Rory once.
I didn't see him at the
Oh,
range.
That's true.
I didn't see him on the course. I didn't see him at the park. I didn't see
No, we
Rory.
saw him on
left.
TV,
He
didn't
left
we?
the range
On
right
TV,
we met, none of us
but
saw
I'm
him in
just saying.
person.
Yeah, okay.
No, I know he was
on
there.
the range when
sorry,
you
I
guys
thought you
were
were
in the
like
pro shop today.
I thought you were
Oh, he
asking if he
was.
was
Okay.
And he
there.
left right before I got up there. So
But I
as
didn't,
was
I didn't
walking
see him
up-
at all, so I have no idea
I didn't see him.
what he's doing.
I'm telling you, Koepka was hitting some flush irons. It was good.
He had a
But he's not beating
Flushfest.
Scotty. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
the other thing that was funny was when we were at the par 3 today, DJ was playing with Thigala and whoever else, I don't remember. And they were like a hole ahead. And everybody was kind of like, where's Paulina? She's not on this bag. And then she came bebopping through in this like bright orange dress. And man, I watched about 50 guys almost snap their
everybody.
necks. They
It
were
was
just like,
the eyes were like here, and she's walking there. Everybody was
there
just
she
like
is.
this.
There
Yeah.
she is.
It was unbelievable.
But he looks okay. DJ has a very distinctive walk. Have you
He
noticed
does.
this?
It's like
Yeah.
a
You know
a human
who has-
orangutan.
Yeah,
you
you
know
can
who
tell.
we didn't notice, and you actually do an incredible impression.
VJ.
VJ Singh,
Goodness
Yes.
gracious.
he lumbers like a
VJ lumbers
Watched
around,
him
man.
yesterday, and it was like,
kinda
goodness.
moves
dude. He
slow.
can barely walk, man.
That's what I said.
He's like it's like
He's
he walked.
62.
Well, he kind of walked like a zombie, like his back, like
Yes. Exactly right.
you know. I don't know. I don't know how he's gonna play. Like if he makes a cut, there's no way he's playing all 4 rounds. He's walking worse than Tiger.
Well, you heard it here first.
Yeah, let's
Cameron Young, the
how do we
2024
conclude?
Masters champion.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, Adam Schenk.
Adam Schenk for the Hammerback boys. We gotta root him on.
Yeah,
hard.
we gotta give
yes.
some cred.
Oh yeah.
And then I
gotta
think we
cheer on
also
our
need to
own.
give Colin Perry some credit on his new visor. Big visor guy.
Big
Wow.
visor guy.
Yeah,
Big
visor.
visor guy.
See,
Big
See, I
visor.
went
How many-
hard in the
Some of
paint.
the masters have
How many people
swag
walked around
this
that
year.
pro shop and picked
Phenomenal,
out
though.
that visor?
Well,
Not many.
not many.
But Colin Perry
I walked
did.
in the pro
Those
shop.
are sold
and
out.
The
The
hat that
azalea,
empty
this
is
one's
where
sold
the
out.
azalea hat.
sold out.
Carly wanted it. I didn't think she would like it because she doesn't typically like girly stuff, and it's a kind of a girly. It's a pink hat.
I can hear you. I'm right here.
Anyway. So I texted her back and I go, hey, I didn't know what you wanted. I got you this. And she goes, that's great. And I said, they had this pink hat, blah, blah. And she Googles and she goes, oh my gosh, I want that.
I saw it. And
Oh, great. I'll
wanted
get it for you tomorrow. And we go back today, completely sold out.
Yeah, that
So
and
I-
the pimento hat.
So I had to
That
go on the
pimento.
eBay and pay $85 for a hat I could have gotten yesterday for a fourth the price.
$30.
Yep.
Yep.
Also, Colin offered tickets to 60 people outside. He was like,
Yeah, that had already been checked in and out twice for
You're trying to
$500.
sell your ticket.
Well, that's so. real
He
quick,
didn't get one response.
I know it's probably about time to wrap up, but that's one thing. There's a lot of people outside the gates that are just like, "Hey, you done? Can we take your ticket?"
Oh,
You
and
can
the best
go in
part
and
about
out.
it is they're dressed to the nines.
Yeah,
and their
so-
golf apparel,
so
and
this is
everything,
something
ready to go
There
in.
was a guy behind us today. We were going into the golf shop, and a guy was telling his buddy, he goes, listen, when we walk out of here, he goes, don't give your ticket to anybody. Don't sell it. Don't. And the guy goes, why not? And he goes, because there's a good chance that they're Augusta National people just sort of dressed up, and they want to see if anybody's going to sell their ticket so
wow.
they can put you on a list.
Yeah, and they'll blackball you.
And they'll blackball you.
And he said the other thing is some people have sold their tickets, and that guy comes in and gets smashed drunk. Well, they blackball him, and then they look up whoever bought the ticket.
They can
number.
trace the ticket back.
Yeah.
Well, because every ticket has a number, and they'll just blackball you. So he's like, "Do not
They're
give your
tracking
tickets away."
everything, Cub.
They're getting drunk on beer.
Their,
We count
their
beers,
birds
too?
are fake and they make noises.
When's the last time you got drunk on beer?
And I'm just ripped on crow's nest. I've had 15 of those.
That is the craziest thing, though, that the walkways are heated. They
Well,
have sub air in the
It is.
walkway.
I don't believe
well
it's true.
this
And
was a
speaker
unbelievable
birds.
They don't have
podcast.
robot birds. They don't have. There's none of that.
You didn't
Mike-
see the video. I
Okay,
sent.
we're gonna have to post this on the pod if it's
Well,
real
we'll
or
have to
not.
see
We'll
that.
have to figure it out. We'll do a fact check.
Yeah,
Great.
We'll do a
All
fact
right,
check.
Yeah,
we'll,
great-
we'll
great
close it
trip.
out. This was a great trip. We're so glad that everybody's
Thanks
here.
for the last minute
We'll-
invite.
We'll
Love
put
it.
we'll put some pictures up. They don't do it justice, but we're really looking forward to seeing what happens. And hopefully, this becomes a regular thing.
Yeah.
It's a special deal that I hope everybody gets to come to. If you get to go one time, you'll remember it for the rest of your life. And I love that I got to share it with my chums.
Yeah. And
Chums.
hopefully some of our new
Chums.
friends that we saw at Augusta will see
Cheers,
this.
boys.
Cheers to you.
boys.
Thanks
Here,
for
here.
saying hi to us.
Here, here.
Hammer back.
Oh,
Enjoy your
By the
Masters
way,
moment.
last tidbit. Do you know what is actually in the rules that you cannot say at the Masters anymore?
Mashed potatoes.
Dilly dilly.
No.
Yes. If you say dilly dilly, they will find you and remove you.
Oh, well,
It's in the rules.
Wish I would
When
have
they
known
give you
that.
the tickets now, they go, no dilly dilly.
Dude, you don't mess around inside
And that's
those
Cubs.
gates.
That's Cubs deal.
no
Dilly
love
dilly.
pros.
I love it.
Anyway, hey, dilly dilly. All right, see y'all.
See ya.
Flush.